March 1944, 1400 hours. The steaming jungle road near Hollandia Airfield, New Guinea. Mud sucks at the tires of a stalled jeep, the air thick with the buzz of mosquitoes and the distant thrum of P-38 Lightnings taking off. Corporal Ed Downey curses under his breath, wrench in hand, when he hears it, a faint scratching from a nearby foxhole, half collapsed under vines. He peers in. There, trembling in the dirt, is a scrap of fur no bigger than a GI's boot. A Yorkshire Terrier, eyes wide with terror, coat matted with jungle rot. No tags, no owner, just a lost soul in hell's green inferno. Downey scoops her up, tucks her into his shirt pocket like a lucky charm. Back at base, he hands her off to Sergeant Dare, who sees potential in the pint-sized pup. But it's Corporal William Bill Wynne, 21-year-old aerial photographer with the 26th Photo Reconnaissance Squadron, 5th Air Force, who spots her true spark. He trades 2 Australian pounds, his poker winnings, for the dog, naming her Smoky for her ashen coat. You can almost feel the weight of her in his palm, 4 pounds of fragile life amid the roar of war machines. New Guinea is no place for a lapdog. Japanese snipers lurk in the canopy. Malaria fells men like timber. Bill bathes Smoky daily in his helmet, picking ticks from her fur with tweezers, sharing his sea rations, bacon grease smeared on her nose to make her eat. She sleeps in his mosquito net, a warm bundle against the night chills. But Smoky isn't just a pet. She's quick. Bill teaches her commands: sit, roll over, play dead. Soon she's performing for the squadron, leaping through hoops of linked arms, walking a tightrope of tent ropes. Laughter echoes in the mess tent for the first time in months. Word spreads. In July 1944, Bill collapses with dengue fever, his body burning at 105 degrees. He's rushed to the 233rd Station Hospital in Nadzab. Friends smuggle Smoky in, hidden in a camera bag. The nurses spot her, but instead of confiscating, they enlist her. Dr. Charles Mayo, the commanding officer and son of the Mayo Clinic founder, gives the nod. Smoky makes rounds, trotting bed to bed, her tiny paws on soldiers' chests, eliciting smiles from men who'd forgotten how. "She's better than morphine," one whispers, stroking her ears. Recuperative leave in Brisbane, Australia, Bill and Smoky hit the wards at the 109th Fleet Hospital and 42nd General. She performs her dead dog trick, flopping limp at the command, drawing cheers from amputees and burn victims. A Red Cross worker, Barbara Wood Smith, pens a letter. Smoky brought light to the darkest days. Back at base, she wins Best Mascot of the Southwest Pacific in Yank magazine, her photo splashed across pages dog-eared by homesick GIs. But the Pacific War grinds on. The squadron leaps to Biak Island in August 1944, wrested from the Japanese at bloody cost. Smoky flies her first mission in a Stinson L-5 Sentinel, scouting crash sites. Bill tucks her into a musette bag, her head peeking out like a periscope. She becomes the good luck charm for rescue ops in PBY Catalinas, sea and air missions pulling downed pilots from shark-infested waves. One flight, they're set to rescue 6 men on a raft. At the last second, an extra medic bumps Bill. The plane vanishes mid-mission. Smoky, it seems, has a sixth sense. By late 1944, she survived 150 air raids, her yips warning of incoming zeros before the sirens wail. But the real test looms. The Philippines beckon, and with them a miracle that will etch her name in military lore. What happens when a 4-pound dog stares down a 70-foot death trap? January 1945. Lingayen Gulf, Luzon, Philippines. The beachhead is still smoking from MacArthur's return when the 26th Photo Recon Squadron sets up at a captured Japanese airstrip. The runway is half finished, pocked with craters, and the control tower is a gutted shell. Worst of all, the main telephone line to the forward fighter strips runs under the runway, and the bulldozers have buried it beneath 70 feet of coral rock and compacted earth. To dig it up would mean shutting the strip for 3 days. In 3 days, Japanese kamikazes could turn the entire beachhead into a slaughter pen. The engineers are stumped. 70 feet of trench would expose dozens of men to snipers and artillery. They stand around the culvert pipe, 4 inches in diameter, pitch black, crawling with centipedes, reeking of diesel and death. Someone jokes, "We need a damn ferret." Corporal Wynne looks down at Smoky, sitting on his boot, tail wagging like she's waiting for the punchline. He kneels. "Smoky, want to go for a walk?" You can almost taste the disbelief in the air. A 4-pound dog pulling a communications cable through 70 feet of hell? But Bill has seen her do impossible things. He ties a length of parachute cord to her collar, knots the telephone wire to the other end, and coats it in axle grease so it slides. Then he crawls to the far end of the culvert with a piece of Spam in his fist. The men gather, pilots, ground crew, even a 2-star general who's heard the rumor. Silence. Only the distant crump of artillery and the whine of mosquitoes. Will whistles once. "Come, Smoky." She bolts. 70 feet of darkness. The pipe is barely wider than her body. She scrapes through, claws scrabbling on metal, the wire trailing behind her like an umbilical cord. Halfway, she hesitates. Bill hears a tiny whimper echo in the pipe. The men hold their breath. Then the smell of Spam reaches her. She lunges forward. 10 seconds later, her muddy face pops out the far end, tail whipping like a helicopter blade. The wire is through. The squadron erupts. 3 minutes. No casualties. The runway stays open. In the next 48 hours, P-38s and P-47s use that line to scramble against 42 separate kamikaze waves. Hundreds of American lives, maybe thousands, are saved because a dog no one believed in refused to quit. Word rockets up the chain. Smoky is awarded the squadron's first ever Impact Award. A Life magazine photographer snaps her wearing a custom flight jacket, tiny goggles perched on her head. The caption reads, "Smoky, 4 pounds of courage." But the war isn't done with her yet. Okinawa is coming, the bloodiest battle of the Pacific, and this time the little dog will have to dig men out of their graves. April 1, 1945, 08:30 hours. The largest amphibious assault in Pacific history slams into Okinawa's western beaches. Over 180,000 American troops pour ashore under a sky black with naval gunfire. The 26th Photo Reconnaissance Squadron lands with the second wave, their L-5 Cubs skimming in low over burning landing craft. Smoky rides in Bill Wynne's lap, ears flat, eyes wide as the horizon erupts in orange fireballs. By April 5th, the squadron is dug in at Guinea airfield, living in tents amid the stench of death. Japanese holdouts hide in caves and tombs. Kamikaze planes streak in daily. Some crash so close the concussion knocks men flat. Coral dust coats everything. Water is rationed to 1 canteen cup a day. And the rain, God, the rain, turns the ground into a sucking red mud that swallows boots and hope. Smoky becomes more than mascot. She becomes medicine. Every dawn, Bill carries her to the 148th General Hospital tent. The wounded lie in rows, boys with bellies torn open by Nambu machine guns, sailors with faces burned black by burning avgas. Smoky hops from cot to cot, tail wagging, letting strangers stroke her silky ears. Nurses report something close to miracles. A Marine who hasn't spoken since Iwo Jima whispers, "Good girl," when she licks his fingers. A pilot with both legs gone laughs for the first time in weeks when she performs Play Dead on his chest. But the real horror comes at night. Japanese infiltrators slip through the lines, some dressed in stolen Marine uniforms, throats slit silently. Sentries shoot at shadows. One night, Smoky growls low in her throat. Bill wakes instantly. She's staring at the tent flap. Seconds later, a Japanese soldier bursts in with a bayonet. Bill grabs his .45, but Smoky is faster. She launches herself at the intruder's face, yipping like a demon. The man stumbles, startled long enough for Bill to fire. The body drops across the tent entrance. Smoky stands over it, hackles raised, until the MPs drag it away. Days later, she's in the cargo hold of an LST during a kamikaze attack. A Zero dives straight at the ship, wingtip grazing the mast before exploding into the sea. The blast wave slams Smoky against a bulkhead. She limps for days, but refuses to leave Bill's side. Then comes the call no one wants. A forward observation post on the Shuri line needs aerial photos. The only way in is a grass strip under constant artillery fire. Bill volunteers. Smoky rides in his musette bag again. They land under a hail of 75mm shells. For 12 straight days, she lives in a foxhole with him, sharing K rations in fear, while Japanese shells walk the earth like giants. She survives 12 air raids, 2 direct kamikaze crashes within 100 yards, and one night when a Japanese soldier steps over their foxhole. Bill holds his breath. Smoky stays silent, sensing the moment. By June 22, 1945, Okinawa is declared secure. The cost? 12,500 Americans dead, 36,000 wounded. Smoky is still 4 pounds, still alive, still wagging her tail. But the war has one final trick, one that will decide whether this tiny hero ever sees home again. August 15, 1945. Emperor Hirohito's voice crackles over the radio. Japan has surrendered. The Pacific erupts in cheers, gunfire into the air, men weeping in the mud. Bill Wynne stands on a coral ridge in Okinawa, Smoky in his arms, watching the sunset red over a silent battlefield for the first time in 4 years. But joy turns to dread the moment the orders come down. All military animals are to be euthanized or abandoned. Official reason? Quarantine regulations. Unofficial reason, no one wants rabies or fleas on the troop ships home. Dogs that survived Okinawa, New Guinea, Iwo Jima, dogs that pulled wires, warned of infiltrators, kept men sane, are suddenly surplus equipment. Bill stares at the order sheet like it's written in blood. He has 48 hours before the 26th Photo Reconnaissance Squadron boards the USS General M.C. Meigs for San Francisco. That night, under a single lantern in the supply tent, Bill and his buddies hatch a plan. Smoky is wrapped in a green wool blanket, tucked inside an empty oxygen canister from a B-17, the kind used to carry camera film. Air holes are punched with a bayonet. A hand-stenciled label reads, "Photographic equipment, handle with care." They rehearse the lie 100 times. It's classified recon gear, sure. The morning of departure, MPs prowl the dock with clipboards and .45s, searching duffel bags for contraband pets. Bill's heart jackhammers as he carries the canister up the gangplank. A lieutenant eyes it. "What's in the can, Corporal?" Bill doesn't flinch. "Film from the Okinawa shoot, sir. Top secret stuff. General Kenny wants it in Washington yesterday." The lieutenant waves him through. 41 days at sea. Smoky never makes a sound. Bill sneaks her out at night on the darkened deck, feeding her scraps of Spam and letting her breathe the salt air. She curls inside his jacket during storms that pitch the ship 30 degrees, her tiny heartbeat the only steady thing in a world gone mad. December 3rd, December 45, Cleveland, Ohio. Snow is falling as Bill steps off the train at Union Terminal. His mother waits on the platform, eyes scanning every uniform. Bill kneels, opens the canister, and Smoky explodes out, 4 pounds of pure joy, leaping into her mother's arms like she's known her forever. The neighbors come running, flashbulbs pop. The Cleveland Press runs the headline the next day, "Smoky, home from the wars." She will live another 11 years. Parades, hospitals, schools, television shows. She will earn a retroactive war record from the Department of Defense, 8 battle stars, and a medal no regulation ever covered. Children will grow up believing a dog can be a soldier. But on quiet nights, when the house is dark and Bill wakes from the old nightmares, Smoky pads across the bed and places her tiny head on his chest, exactly where she did in foxholes a lifetime ago. 4 pounds of courage that refused to be left behind. And somewhere, in the silence between heartbeats, you can still hear her tiny paws running through the jungle, running towards home.